This tutorial will show you how to make the super easy earbuds case out of a template. I'm using this gorgeous utility side I bought from Tandy and acrylic templates. I'm only cutting out the outer template because I don't need the inner pouch or the gusset. You can use a utility knife or a rotary knife to make the cuts that you need. Next, I'm using a wing divider to figure out where the stitch holes should go and tracing that onto my leather piece. Once I have a guide for the stitch holes, I'll go in and pre-punch my holes using my diamond chisel. I forgot to put a piece of scrap leather on the bottom, so don't forget to do that to protect your diamond chisels. Work your way down and punch both sides. Next, we'll need 2 needles to saddle stitch what you've just punched. My general guide is to cut thread 6 times the area that you're sewing. Thread each end through each needle. I like to use binder clips to help keep my project together as I sew. I like to start at the bottom at the second hole. I back stitch through the first hole for reinforcement. Then saddle stitch through the rest of your side. Check out other YouTube tutorials on how to properly saddle stitch because it's a great foundational skill to have. I like using a stitching horse, but you don't necessarily need one. You can put the project in between your knees and use that for stability as you saddle stitch through the rest of your side. Once you're done on one side, just pull the threads through on the other end, tie a small knot, and then use a lighter to burn those threads down. This will secure the threads and prevent unraveling. I'm just checking here to make sure my earbuds fit inside my case. After I confirm that they do fit, I saddle stitch on the other side to secure both sides evenly. My method of closure is going to be using a brass button stud. I measure out where I want it to go and punch a hole through the closure flap, and then use that to mark where the bottom hole should go. I punch a hole there as well, then put the bottom piece of the button screw there and then secure it with the top. Make sure to tighten this really well. Next, we're going to adjust the closure hole a little bit more because right now you see that it's way too small. I cut the hole a little bit bigger and then cut a slit to help that button pop through. We are almost done. Now we're going to even out those edges and do some burnishing. I use a sanding block to sand down the edges to get an even surface on all sides. I'm still working on my cutting skills, so this helps even out the edges. You don't have to do this, but I like to glue down this edge for added security. This glue has a super thin applicator that helps me get right in there and add just enough glue to glue down both edges. I'm using Tokonol to burnish all free edges of my project. Take a little on your finger and run it through the free edge and then use your burnishing tool to lay down the fibers of the edges. You may have to do a few thin layers to get a really good finish. Don't forget to also burnish your closure hole. After burnishing, your project is done and you can stop here. To really finish off those edges, I used some black edge coat here to paint the edges to give it a more professional look. The project is complete. I'm very happy with how this turned out. You can use the same template and other types of leather to make 100 different variations. Let me know if you try this and if you have any other questions.